Hello, and welcome to our latest episode of Gen 3's podcast, Actionable Insights, where we share education and learnings to improve your affiliate and performance marketing programs. Today, we have Paul Tibbett from CJ Affiliate, and we are going to talk about what CMOs get wrong about affiliate marketing. Hi, Paul. So welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. So, would you please introduce yourself and why should anyone listen to you?
Well,
Can you tell us?
so it's a great question. So I'm Paul Tibbett. I'm president of CJ, and I think my three sons would tell you there's no reason to listen to me. But I guess if I had to give a reason to this audience, it would be you're not really so much listening to me as the 800 CJers and our 3,000 advertisers and tens of thousands of publishers that we represent, and all the data that I get to see being in my shoes and talking and meeting and collaborating with all those people. So you're really listening to them, thankfully for you.
Yeah, no, that's great, and definitely a wealth of expertise coming from CJ. And yeah, as my kids would say, like, you don't know, mom. I'm like, I've actually been around a little bit longer, so hopefully. So then, how do you explain to your sons or other people outside of the industry what you do?
I jump into examples. Like I don't even try with
Yeah.
the technical explanation. It's
Hmm.
just, it doesn't work anymore. I start with digital advertising. I think that's a broad enough
Yep.
definition that people can like kind of grab onto something there that they can
Hmm.
relate to. But then I go right into examples. I'm like with my sons, I'll be like, okay, so if you're on a website and you're reading something, and then there's a link that takes
Hmm.
you to buy a pair of sneakers, and then right, and then you ask mom for her credit card and all that. Like
Yep. Yep.
it's like we're the technology that enables all that to happen, and they're kind of like, oh wow. And then they ask more. My sons are now in teenagers, and my oldest is 16, and the youngest is 12. So they all kind of like can relate a little bit to the consumer experience, and certainly at
Hmm.
their age, the e-commerce experience. So surprisingly, they get it. My
Yeah,
parents, on the other
that's true.
hand, is another story.
Yeah. Definitely, definitely. We always like to ask this question to get to know our guests. So, if you were to create a sandwich, what would it be, and where would you distribute or sell it?
Sandwich. So I would it would be a sub at the Jersey Shore because
Mm.
so I grew up in New Jersey, so that's one thing you just learned about me. And it's subs, not grinders or hoagies or any of those other terms that
Yep.
people use from different parts of the country. Yeah, I just grew up going there in the summer with my family. I'm one of five kids, and my parents and grandparents, we would all kind of go together. And yeah, there's just something about a really good New Jersey
Yeah.
sub after a day at the beach, like swimming and boogie boarding and body surfing, and you're exhausted and starving, and like a sub hits a little different. So I think that's where I would
Yep.
do it because it would also mean that I would be at the shore, which would be
Yep.
great. So
Yeah. No, that's great. The
yeah.
whole experience. Yeah. No, great. I love that example, and now I want to be at the beach. So obviously you're an affiliate industry veteran, and a performance marketing industry veteran. So what is it that you love the most about our industry? What drives your passion? Like why do you stay?
Yeah, I think what sort of got me interested in getting into it in the first place sort of remains a driver for me, which is the accountability of it. I'm a quant person, always been super data oriented. And so, kind of that place where it seemed to have the most accountability of any marketing or advertising I had
Hmm.
come across. I mean, my background is in consulting prior, consulting and market research, and all these things are very quant oriented. Um, like I said, I'm one of five kids. I was raised by my parents. My mother's a teacher. My dad was a civil engineer. So it's like very concrete, linear type thinking.
So we recently partnered together on the Gen 3 original research
Yes.
paper. And, I'd love to hear kind of as one of our thought leaders who participated, what were your key takeaways?
So first, thank you for including us. It was awesome to see that. I think we need more of that in our industry. I
Hmm.
feel like um, other channels, other industries do a better job of like talking about. I mean, that'll be one of the things I want to talk to you about is like how do we do more of that
Yeah.
as we go here. But there were sort of for me six that I took away as being sort of the most impactful
Hmm.
or the things that I could relate to the most and feel like are most important. And um, like three were consumer driven and three were marketer driven. The first was that, and I
Hmm.
think it was even the first in your summary there was like affiliate is no longer last click. I think it's fantastic that
Right.
we're kind of breaking out of that. It's taken a lot of hard work and time from a lot of industry
Hmm.
veterans that have been doing this a lot longer than me to kind of open that aperture for the industry to be seen as more than last click and a lot of innovation from
Yeah.
especially the publisher side to kind of tie into unique opportunities throughout consumer journeys. So that was great.
Hmm.
Our folks at CJ, Summer Arias kind of coined the term channel of channels, and that's exactly what affiliate
Yeah.
has become. And it's great that people are recognizing that. So that was
Hmm.
one. The second,
Yeah.
very related to that, was the point about inspiration can be generated from multiple sources. It doesn't always start with either Google
Yeah.
or Amazon. And I think that's super healthy
Hmm.
for all of us. And again,
Yeah.
it points to the innovation that's taken place and the fact that consumers are open to being inspired in many ways. And now we have the tools to measure
Hmm.
that across the journey. We've
Yeah.
had that for some time, but we can do that and share that. And then the last consumer driven one that really stood out was the cost consciousness, right? Like we all know people are a lot more cost conscious than they were even a year ago for lots of reasons.
Hmm.
Inflation, kind of pinching people and making them
Yeah.
have to spend more of their budget on necessities, and so then they've got to be really careful with how they spend on other things. Um, I do think it's important to remember that people are cost conscious not just during recessions or almost recessions, and
Yeah.
that never really goes away for a large cohort, and that's why our channel is relevant all the time, but certainly one that makes us more
Yeah.
relevant at a time like this. And then the three on the marketer side is their planned increase budgets. That's great. Again, I think that speaks to
Yeah.
their understanding of our channel and because you spend more in the places that you lean into. So that got me
Hmm.
excited when I read that. I was like, yay! And then like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then the punch in the gut
And
comes next.
then,
Yeah, where it's like, but two
yeah.
thirds still separate omnichannel from the rest of their omnichannel strategy from affiliates.
Yeah.
That's like, okay, yeah, right. We still have work to do. And the fact that the reliance,
Hmm.
the third kind of marketer takeaway was the reliance on other channels is driven by budget prioritization and lack of experience in affiliates. So still work to do, but you got me excited with the first of those marketer trends.
Yeah, I agree. And no, those are six very key points because and a big part of the goal behind the paper was to kind of expose the gaps
Mm-hmm.
between what the consumers are doing, how they're engaging affiliate content, and then the gap between the marketers. And I agree. I think the one of my favorite stats as well was the fact that inspiration is happening more on those mass media sites, those online magazines, than at the beginning of the journey, more so
Mm-hmm.
than the big networks. So Meta and Google,
Mm-hmm.
but and to your point of omni-channel, like we're not saying shift all your budget from one into affiliate, but it's just, yeah, it's like there's so much more out there. And
Mm-hmm.
when they are relying and not taking the omni-channel approach, it's like you're missing out on so many opportunities. So that's, yeah, I agree. And it's painful, right? You're like,
Yes.
it's here, it works. Yeah, so why, like, let's dive into that. Why do you think that marketers have this perspective? Like, why is this a problem, and what's our solution here?
Yeah. Um, yeah. There's definitely work to do. I think um, the CMO's problem is measurement and how do they measure and how
Yeah.
do they demand accountability across their full
Yeah.
omni-channel strategy. And if we're going to solve
Yeah.
this, you can't dismiss this being affiliate as last click.
Yeah.
And I
Yep.
think we'll continue to struggle with companies reliant on third parties for their measurement until we get
Mhm.
a better seat at that table. And I think the good
Yep.
evolution has been a bigger seat at the CMO table. The next evolution needs to be then
Mhm.
a seat at the measurement table. I think in our experience with like
Yeah. Yeah.
MMMs, for example, affiliate, it's shown that our kind of unique model doesn't blend well with them. It's put at a disadvantage within some of these models
Right.
because they weren't conceived really with affiliate in mind. Let's face it.
Right.
And
Right.
we're either typically too small in terms of the overall spend to get the fair shake of some of the
Mhm.
other channels, or delayed
Yeah.
response in marketing activity. It just becomes very an unreliable way to measure the effectiveness of affiliates. So for those reasons, we have
Mhm.
to keep working with them. So I think the solution, the second part of your question, is for the CMO to keep leaning into affiliate and learn more, right? I think they've come a long way, but they've got some more education to do on channel specific data that's available to them, and to
Mhm.
stop reliance on GA or other unreliable models to really understand our channel. So there's a wealth of data that we provide, more so than any other channel that they work with. And if they continue to ask and push and ask questions, they're going to get good
Yeah.
answers. But they've got to look at us more deeply to be able to get there.
Yeah. And so, what are some of the questions that you would recommend the marketers, the advertisers are asking?
Um, I think they need to understand at the channel level what kind of
Mhm.
incrementality data do we have? What kind of
Yep.
ability do we have to understand every point and touch point of the consumer journey? Because I think
Mhm.
their logical assumption is that we're just focused on affiliate, but we're not. I mean, our
Right.
technology has advanced to
Right.
the
Right.
point where we know what was happening if they have the appropriate integration with us to understand every step in that journey, and that data is available to them
Yeah.
through us, and they don't have to
Yeah.
rely on a third party to get that. So again, we saw this really nice shift in their mentality, which is to
Yeah.
take us more seriously and consider pushing more budget. I think the next evolution comes from like making that connection point to outcomes, and how we measure those outcomes.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would add to the questions as well, because that's um, such a big part of it. To your point, is looking into the outcomes, the
Mm-hmm.
ROAS, the actual return, and also as we were talking about, and how are you measuring your more other
Yeah,
channels when it is more of an upper funnel play, so your linear TV or your traditional PR or even your influencer. So it's like
right.
you have all these channels that also don't drive a click, and let's look at that more holistically. So I agree. I think you're spot on with trying to build that curiosity and get the marketers to start asking more questions. And so you were talking about you've seen this shift
Yes.
to the interest of more guaranteed outcomes. Talk to me more about that.
Yeah, I'm coming up on 8 years, and I'm still a baby in this industry. I feel like, compared to a lot of my colleagues, especially within CJ. I feel like within our exec team, there's so much knowledge and expertise and longevity. But I mean, what I saw when I came in versus now, there were a couple of macro shifts really driven by the pandemic. I think we have a
Hmm.
lot that we can trace back to that. Obviously, the overall acceleration of digital adoption by consumers in general,
Yeah.
right, led marketers to really be focused on digital at a time when that was the only option. But this whole notion of guaranteed outcomes came out of that, as well as a moment where
Hmm.
advertisers
Yep.
really saw that they could get outcomes without any prepayment, right? And that's not so much a channel
Right.
discovery as a commercial model discovery. They were like, oh, and
Right.
and
Right.
delivery on outcomes without prepayment became super critical at their time of super uncertainty, right? And so these are positive trends
Hmm.
for us. It led to more investment. It led to more learning. And it was really nice to see. You saw CMOs coming to
Yeah.
QBRs for the first time in maybe a long time or ever. And it really came down to, again, the accountability that we drive and the technology that we have for advanced, that have advanced so much in terms of driving flexibility and in how they pay, what they pay for, dynamic commissioning, aligning payouts
Right.
to, product level outcomes, to all kinds of
Right.
goals that they have beyond just sort of this simple last click
Hmm.
mentality, and being able to really drive
Yeah.
outcomes at a discrete level that they weren't able to do before and can't do, frankly, with pretty much any other channel. And so making that connection point with them, I saw that shift happening through COVID, and that the pay for performance model really pushed them, and the push towards digital really
Yeah.
pushed them to
Yeah.
get more educated and lean in.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, we've talked about how, to your point, there's so many KPIs, there's so much data around the different touch points and how it can be measured. And we essentially have more data
Mm-hmm.
than any other channel. So, what else needs to be done, do you think?
I think it can't remain separate from the omni-channel mix. I
Yeah.
think they have to
Yeah.
find a way, and this is the CMO's challenge, and I empathize with it because it becomes
Yeah.
a really significant question to solve for them, but they can't keep ignoring it
Yeah.
or rely on last click, and they need tools to accurately account for it. And I think if they speak to their partners in the affiliate channel, they'll learn that we've got a lot
Hmm.
to offer there, right? And so
Yeah.
like at CJ, we did this massive incrementality study and birthed many solutions to help address these questions. Cross-channel journey analysis is now possible again with the right
Hmm.
integration. Obviously, new
Yeah.
and lapsed customer analysis. All these things are available and at their fingertips if they ask the right questions of their partners. And that will help them understand sort of a cross-channel view of affiliates contribution, and they'll see that it
Yeah.
includes way beyond last click, it includes discovery, awareness, consideration, every stage.
Hmm.
And they can be empowered with that kind of transparent view into that cross-channel journey. Um, and that I think makes us unique. And if they ask those questions and really dig into that data, and then start asking questions of those third-party measurement, partners, that like, okay, then how are we actually integrating this and embedding this
Right.
in an accurate way, then they'll get the outcome that they're looking for.
Yeah. It's interesting in the research paper. I think one of the stats around barriers was that internal teams battle over ownership of publisher relationships included in affiliate, and other aspects of like uh, internal challenges of kind of
Mm-hmm.
ownership of those touch points. And I think that's a big part of it, to your point of like, even if we're going to that planning table and pointing out that, look, like this is this is an affiliate strategy, this is part of what we're able to do for you, there's going to be an internal competition on taking credit for it, but that the real perspective, at least I think, should be the rising tide, right? Who cares
Mm-hmm.
where they come in from? Let's make sure that they're coming in. But yeah, and so yeah, the integration, the omni-channel aspect of it, I think is so critical, and that's kind of the drum I've been beating as well. Is like get affiliate a seat at the planning table, get it part of the the two-thirds that don't integrate. So thinking from that perspective, like the data, understanding the data, but what else has really stopped the brand advertisers from integrating affiliate and giving them that seat at the table?
Yeah, I think there's still some myths that persist, right? That the last click thing is understood, that it's beyond last click for many, but there's still a lot of folks who haven't gotten past that yet, and just the overall impression of it being
Yeah.
lower funnel.
And so, yeah, why are they wrong? Like, how should they be looking at it?
Right. They should be looking at it as amplification, right? They should be looking at it as as Summer says, channel of channels. It's present at every step of the
Hmm.
journey and way more sophisticated than last click. So if you sort of embrace that approach, you start to think about all the different partners that you should be working with and how to create those partnerships at scale. So as opposed to just kind of dabbling in parts of affiliate, really embracing the totality of it, and then taking a very strategic approach, an omni-channel approach um, to affiliate. So if again you're pushing a new product where awareness and discovery is
Hmm.
key, you may be thinking of some traditional media or some social to kind of help you drive that. You should be thinking of affiliate as well because we have lots of partners within this channel that drive discovery and awareness. And so stop thinking of it as lower funnel and last click. Think of it as your amplification channel. Like, how do you make all the rest of the money that you're spending work even harder and better, but do so in a measurable, accountable way, right? It's not just impression spending that you pre buy and hope for the best. It's like accountable spending that's
Hmm.
based on actual outcomes. And so I think that's the right way to think about it. I think that the wrong way to think about it, and unfortunately, this is a path that's been chased by some in our industry, is to move towards kind of
Hmm.
slicing up the tiny piece of the pie that's already attributed to affiliate, aka fractional commissioning or
Right.
whatever. And it's like,
Hmm.
why would we do that? Why would we enable a diminutive view
Right. Right.
of our channel to be cauterized in the tools that we provide? Shouldn't we be thinking of it as in an expansive way, right? That yes,
Yeah.
that affiliate helped you close that customer, but these assisted in the awareness and discovery phase. So let's find a way to reward them as well, right? Because you wouldn't say just because you gave a
Yep.
last click attribution to an affiliate partner, like we're no longer going to pay, our display bill, right, for the display video
Right. Right.
right? So like,
Yeah.
why would we say, oh no,
Those CPMs didn't get us anything.
right,
Yeah.
right? Like, why would we say, yeah, sure, a fractional, that makes sense. Let's just take this really small piece of pie and like carve it up even more and give everybody a tiny piece. It's like, well, no, affiliate
Yeah. Yeah.
or partners within this channel did both of those things and they
Yeah.
should be rewarded accordingly. And so that's the mentality we're taking and trying to, um, strategize with our partners on to make sure that that's the way people are thinking of an expansive view of our channel and not a diminutive one.
No, definitely. And I know within the CJ network, you have a very extensive range of publisher partners that are helping brands connect on the full funnel.
Exactly. Yeah, and they
Yeah.
again they deserve the credit for finding niches or opportunities within the
Yeah.
journey to say,
Yeah.
nobody is serving this need yet. I see this opportunity, and those publishers innovated and
Hmm.
created relationships with their consumers that,
Yeah.
frankly, oftentimes are even stronger than the ones that the consumer has with the
Hmm.
merchant, right? And so, kind of
Right.
having an
Right.
attitude of, okay, well then I, as a marketer, need to take advantage of that relationship that's been created between that publisher and the consumer, and then reward that publisher, whether that be through flat spend as a way to reward them or
Right.
other
Hmm.
other tools that are available to you to make sure you're giving them their due for their contribution to the process. And um, again, if you take the view of it's an amplifier of all media, it just kind of changes that dynamic completely from this kind of
Right.
lower
Right.
funnel closer mentality that still permeates.
Yeah. And you were saying in our research paper, one of the that was like we were saying at the beginning, that was such a key part of kind of the results from the consumer survey, because when we asked them, where are you going for inspiration, every single publisher type or sub publisher type was included. Of all the 2,000 consumers, every single publisher type was mentioned
Mm-hmm.
for the inspiration phase. So to your point, like even the coupon or the cashback loyalty sites that typically brands often think of as just last click, and we get a lot of that, like, well, I would have gotten that sale anyway.
Right.
But the brand presence there still adds to kind of all aspects of the consumer's education and kind of figuring out what product they want. So, and then when we dug more deeply into the research consideration and purchase, yeah, the data shows it's the research and consideration are the majority of touch points are the content that's powered by affiliate links. And I loved your example of like these publishers themselves have done such a good job, whether they're niche or, a larger cashback loyalty or price comparison, to build that relationship with their audiences. So yeah, in the research data for the consumer behavior, it's research and consideration, inspiration, research and consideration are dominated by content powered by affiliate links. And then, what's interesting is when the purchase and repeat purchase tended to happen at a marketplace or the brand.com website. Third place for purchase was the coupon voucher sites. But I think that goes to the counter argument of the last click, right? If our data shows that consumers are going to the affiliate sites, but then maybe going directly to brand.com to purchase, or going to Amazon, Walmart, or Nordstrom to purchase. So I think that's, again, the more we can kind of socialize that broader customer journey, to your point, and like the different metrics and how we can demonstrate the value across all of the parts of the consumer journey and the types of publishers and subcategories, and just so much potential. I think that's why I'm like, let's get there. So it's, again, thinking about the CMO, the C-suite, how we can get them to notice and to really value this. And so, we always ask our guests to leave the audience with some actionable insights. So just how can the brand advertisers get the CMOs to notice, or how could we get the CMOs to notice? What are your thoughts?
I would say ask them to ask questions. I've never been in a meeting with a CMO that once they learned more about affiliate and what we can offer and the data available to them, that they didn't change their behavior in a positive way.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you have their audience, when you have their attention, ask them to ask questions and get educated. Ask what data is available. What kinds of things can I drive with affiliate? What types
Yeah.
of partners are available at each stage of the journey? Who can help me with discovery? How can you help my campaign to launch a new product, right? Which I would
Yeah.
never have thought of for affiliate before. So just getting them to think beyond their
Mm-hmm.
kind of old paradigm and ask questions is the best way to get their attention and get them to notice and go outside of your sort of old reliable channels to see what else is out there. Because the likelihood is that you're going to find better ROAS or ROAS
Yeah.
that goes down versus what you're used to. You're going to discover new partnerships and relationships that drive even better outcomes than you were getting before. Where you didn't, wouldn't consider them before. So also ask them to test into it, right? This is a guaranteed outcome, low risk channel. You can test into it and try different things. And if they don't work, you don't need to continue doing them. And if they didn't work, that means it probably didn't cost you very much, if anything at all. So I think it's just getting them to be inquisitive, ask questions, and ask for demonstrations of why it's not bottom of the funnel that they maybe thought of as before.
All right, great. No, Paul, this has been super helpful. So again, if we can get people to share this podcast and the research and your incrementality report from CJ as well. Hopefully we will make some traction with the CMOs. but I think another big resource for the senior marketers that CJ offers. I know you guys have a big event coming up. Can you, CJU, can you share more about the highlights and what you're excited about and what the advertisers should be excited about and publishers?
I'm very excited. Just three
Yeah.
weeks away, which is super exciting and also terrifying, knowing how much work is still to be
Yeah.
done. But like we do every September, we're all going to get together in sunny Santa Barbara with about 1,000 of us in the
It's
industry
amazing.
to network, to listen and learn, and of course do some partying and have some fun. I look forward to having a drink with you, Carrie, when we can in the evenings, and then just really reconnect with all those people in person. Although we've gotten so used to the hybrid world, there's something really powerful about that event and bringing 1,000 of us all together in person. And so much business gets done, and it tees
Yeah.
everything up really nicely for Q4 for all of our partners. So I know that they're like chomping at the bit to get out there as they are every year. So go to cj.com/CJU if you haven't registered yet. We'd love to have you. And yeah, I can't wait to see
Yeah.
all of you there.
Definitely. We'll put that in the notes as well, put the active
Thank
link.
you.
But yeah, I know it will be my first time there, but I've heard it is just a really powerhouse of publishers and brands and partners ready to to plan some business for Q4 and beyond. And yeah, I know you guys have some really solid content planned, and there's also, I guess it wouldn't be a CJU without the Presh Connect on the night before the
That's
conference
right.
starts. So, little
Good.
plug for that as well. But anyway, yeah, it always a huge opportunity for brands and everyone to learn. So I know it's going to be a really great event. So we're all
Yes.
looking forward to
Can't
it.
wait. Can't wait. Can't wait to see you there too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Paul, thank you so much. Hopefully, maybe your sons will listen to this and get a bit more idea. But if not, I know my kids are like, but do you get to meet influencers? No. Um,
At least not the
anyways,
ones that you probably know, but
right,
there's a lot of
right.
great influencers you don't know.
That is true. Yeah. So anyway, well, thank you, and we will see you in Santa Barbara. But thanks so much to you and everyone at CJ. This was really great. Thank you.
Thanks, Carrie. Appreciate it.